Welcome back to Intentional Guy. I'm Michael Chestnut. I am here with Dylan Arms today. Dylan, thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Dylan is how long's it been now that we've kind of known each other?
I want to say about 5 or 6 months.
Probably 5-6 months.
Yep, around there.
And we've quickly become friends
Absolutely.
through this experience in life together.
Yeah.
Dylan's a brand new Christian. But talent like nobody's business, but also the fire that you've got going in you.
Thank you.
And he has a tremendous story. Proverbs 27:17 is what we've been going on for this series, and it's iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's where we're at right now, sharpening one another.
It's
and
pivotal.
I wanted to bring you in here today so you can share your story, because I believe your story is really going to sharpen some other people today. So, Dylan, why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Start us off on your journey, where you came from, and where you're at today.
Well, thank you again for having me on. Super big blessing. I was raised in a small town in Indiana, southern Indiana, like very, very southern, right next to Louisville, Kentucky. My town was called Jeffersonville, Indiana. It's right across from Louisville. As I said, there's like our city, Ohio River, Louisville, Kentucky. So anytime somebody asks me where I'm from, I usually say Louisville, because
I know exactly where you're from, because I lived
yeah,
in
me and you spoke about that when we
Indianapolis
first met.
for a long time.
Indy's just right north, about 2 hours from us. So, but yeah, I grew up there in a small neighborhood. It was called Oak Park. Loved it. Grew up as a kid running in creeks, and it was back in the, I know I'm still pretty young, but back in that time, it was still like coming at the street lights. Like, we were out with my buddies running around the streets, riding our bikes, and just having a blast. I loved my childhood so much. There was a lot of certain things that happened in my childhood that kind of made me the man I am today. But in those moments, I didn't really look at it like that. But it has definitely sculpted me into the person I am now, especially through my walk with God and my faith journey. I'm able to reflect on those things and realize that those things, even though they weren't the best for me, have made me who I am, and I've grown from it and learned from it, and I can take those experiences and move forward, or even help other people who might be going through that. So that's been the biggest blessing. I wouldn't change anything, even though a lot of pretty bad things happened when I was growing up. I wouldn't change it for the world, because that's who I am now. It's led me to the exact spot that I am. I ended up getting in the wrong crowd, getting into selling and smoking marijuana, and just not hanging out with the right people. Loved my friends to death. I still have a majority of those friends still. I had a very small group, but I knew I needed to get out of Jeff for sure. I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And even my mom looked at me and was like, "There's nothing for you here." And I knew that, but like hearing that from my mother at the time, she was such a pivotal part, and me growing up, looked up to her tremendously. And 17, I went to the recruiter's office and for the United States Navy, and ended up going and saying that I wanted to do that, but I was 17, so it was a pretty awkward situation. I had to get my mom and my dad, who have been divorced since I was 1 year old. I have no recollection or memory of my mom and dad together, so it was always them apart. So I had to get them together. They had to sign away their son at 17 years old to the United States government, and from there I went to boot camp in Chicago. Loved it. For the most part, as much as you can love boot camp. And then from there, I ended up straight out of boot camp getting orders to Yokosuka, Japan, which is on the mainland of Japan. There's a bunch of islands on Japan, but I was on the main part, the main structure, about 2 hours south of Tokyo. So I ended up going there at 18. That was a very tricky time in my life, because I was 18 years old and I'm moving across the world, no foundation, no nothing, don't know anybody. I was just super excited and ambitious to go because I was serving my country, but at the same time very, very nervous on what I was even going to be doing, what the plan was, anything. So that was a turning point in my life when I definitely went over to Japan. As I said, I was smoking marijuana and selling it and doing hallucinogens and stuff like that when I was in high school. So when I got to Japan in the military, obviously I couldn't do that, that's why I wanted to move away anyway. So I was grateful for that. But then that introduced me to one of the devil's many tools in his toolbox, which was alcohol. And over there, you had to be 20 to drink, but the Japanese didn't speak English much, so you didn't get carded. So I started drinking at 18, even though I wasn't supposed to. Ended up going on my first deployment to Australia. Just so happy, 18 years old in Australia. There, I was able to drink because it was 18 there, but legally, but ended up getting into an alcohol-related incident. I was out past curfew for junior sailors. We had to be in at a certain time. I was 18 years old in a club, living it up with the people I thought were my friends, good influences. They were not. Obviously, I got into an incident, and I got into an alcohol-related incident, and ended up getting in trouble with the Navy through that. I had to get on restriction where I just can't leave the boat. I have to muster, which is like they take attendance of everybody who was on there, uniform inspections, the whole nine. So that was like a pretty crappy situation because it was my first deployment. So I was like, dang it, man, this place sucks. Like there's no, well, I'm already in trouble, blah, blah, blah. But it was my fault. But in that mindset, and I'll touch on that throughout this entire thing, but when you're drinking, there's no self-responsibility. There's no self-awareness of what your actions. When you're drinking, at least for me, and I've talked to a lot of people, majority of people, it's everybody else's fault. The world's against you. Yep. But really you're the one putting yourself in these situations that are not good, getting you in trouble. So I ended up doing that, got into a kind of a deep depression my second or third year that I was there, where I was just really lost in who I was as a man. It really was hitting me. Still drinking this whole time. I was still drinking, but this was the first time that my drinking escalated. I was locking myself in my room. Not like locking, but my friends would come knock on it. We had it was like a dorm. We call them the barracks, but all my buddies lived there. So there were 7 floors. My buddies lived on like the 4th and the 6th floor. So they would just come down the elevator, come knock on my door, and that's how we all hung out. My room was like the party room. Like we have so many videos of us just getting wild in my room on a Tuesday night for no reason, just kind of enjoying life, and at least we thought we were. Because everybody was in that same situation. Got into that, kind of locked myself in my room. That was a few months. I say a few, it was like 4 or 5 months where I was really just kind of locked into myself and isolating myself, and was trying to just figure it out, figure out who I was, where I wanted to go, who I am as a man. Because 18, I was in Japan from 18 to 24. Those are huge pivotal years. A lot of people don't look at that in that way, but those are really, everybody at 18 thinks that, oh, I'm a man, I'm good. No, you are really, really, truly, and I'm still figuring it out, but you're truly figuring everything out in those years. Yeah. And we're sitting there, and a lot of times we would either drink, get tattoos, or go to the gym. That was all we could do. So I was going to the gym with my buddy Demetrius, and we ended up leaving there, and we went to the base galley because we could get food for free. And that, at the time I didn't know, but that is where my life would change in the aspect of finding my soulmate and my other half. And I saw my now wife, Elizabeth, and I was like, man, this girl's pretty. She was with one of my other buddies, Ketterman, Jacob, and they worked in the same work center at the time during our workup periods. And my buddy hit me up and said, hey, this girl likes you. And I was like, well, I just got out of this really, really long relationship. I didn't know at the time. She just got out of a really, really long relationship, and they were both on mine and her side. They were both not great relationships. It ended very badly. Two different sides of that, but they both ended not in a good way. So we weren't really looking for anything. It was supposed to kind of just be like a little fling, little having fun and stuff like that. And then, so we kind of started hanging out and stuff like that. And then I ended up catching feelings for her pretty hard. But she was playing hard to get. And I've never dealt with that throughout high school. And then one day, we're in her work center, and me and her were hanging out, and she had her boots, her work combat boots on my lap. And with our leather boots, we shine the tip, like the toe, it's like, kind of makes you stand out as a sailor when people see it. So I was really good at it in boot camp. I got a special award for it because my boots were the shiniest in my division. So I was pretty good at it. So I was just wasting time, kind of just shining her boots. And one of her girlfriends came into the work center and was like, "Ooh, look at your boyfriend." And she said, "That's not my boyfriend." So I got friend zoned. And that was like, wait, what? What's happening? So I didn't like that. So then that just made me chase her even more. And then we were together for about 2 months, and we ended up getting pregnant. And that was a whoa moment. My family at the time, that was like my only support system, was my family back home, my birth, like the one who gave birth to me and stuff like that. And they didn't even know I had a girlfriend. So I had to call my mother and my dad and say, "Hey, I just want to let you guys know, like, I have a girlfriend. I want you guys to meet her, but also you're going to be grandparents." So that was really, really wild situation. I was very shook and didn't know really what to do. I was like, well, I'm still a kid. I was 22. I was like, I'm still a kid. Like, now I have to raise a kid? And one of my mentors just looked at me when I was breaking down crying, because I was like, man, I don't know. Like, we don't even really know each other. Like, I don't know exactly who she is. I've never even talked to her dad, never met any of her family. And he just looked at me and said, "There's only one thing you can do, and that's be a great father." And that was like you're right. And I was just in game mode. So, we were pretty excited about it after about a week or two, where we actually kind of sat down and we were excited to be parents. And unfortunately, we lost the baby. We had a miscarriage, and that was another point where my drinking kind of picked up, because I was trying to stay strong for Elizabeth, but at the same time, it was really internally fighting with me, because I was so excited to be a dad at this time.
Right.
And it took one night where me and her, we were both drinking, and we kind of broke down and just said, like, listen, this is a horrible situation, very tragic, but we want to be parents. Let's do this. So after her body recovered and stuff like that from the miscarriage, we started trying for our now beautiful daughter, Arabella. She was, as a man about to have a kid, I was like, man, I want a boy. Like, yeah, man, I want a boy. Having a girl will change any man in a huge way.
Oh, they steal your heart, don't they?
Oh, it was just looking at her, and I'm just like, man. And then I start reflecting on like me as a kid, and I'm like, man, I was a dog. Like, I was not a good person to females. I was like, I don't want her to be treated like I don't want her to do what I did, like that to happen to her. So that was like a stay away from boys situation. Like, you better stay away. And still to this day, like, she's in ABA therapy. She was diagnosed with autism, and she'll get like little notes from school, and it was like a kid that said something to her for her birthday and wrote her a card, and it had a heart on it. And I'm like, she's 5. She just turned 5. And I'm like, Arabella, who is this? Like, just messing with her. Like, I'm still to that point. She's incredible.
Wait till she's 13.
I'm gonna keep waiting for that.
Becomes a teenager.
I'm gonna keep
and how that goes.
Yeah, we got to pump the brakes, because it's still, when she just turned 5, I was like, me and my wife both looked at each other. We're like, man, time flies. And with her getting her diagnosis, that was a rough time as well. But when we did end up getting pregnant, I'll kind of back up a little bit. When we did end up getting pregnant, Arabella was born January 2nd, and I was in port, so I wasn't on deployments yet. And the first deployment that I had to leave, she was 4 months, and I left for 7 months on a deployment in the South China Sea. And coming back, it was a very gut-wrenching, eye-opening experience when it comes to the military side of things. Because when I left, I knew how to be a dad. I was like, man, I got the diaper changes down. I got the changing her. I'm helping my wife out. Well, when I get home, not only do I not know this, it's a whole new baby. Like, it's a whole new, she's like basically standing up. Like, when I left, she was still limp, noodle kind of thing. So I was able to put your arm in, stuff like that. Well, when I come back at 11 months, she's moving and up and going. She's not walking yet, but thankfully I was there for the first steps. But
her character's building.
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff
it's
like
like it's a whole different child. And not only that, but when I get home, she looks at me and has no clue who this man is in front of me.
Yeah.
And I know everybody always tells me it's like, she won't remember that. I get that. I get she won't remember that at all. But Dad will.
Yes.
I will remember that and remember that vividly in my brain forever. And that was a hard moment. And when I got back from that deployment, we ended up getting married, me and my wife. So we ended up going to the Japanese courthouse. And this was an experience in its own, because stateside, if you go to a courthouse, you still have a little ceremony. The judge comes in and you do I do's and all that stuff.
Right.
Japan was not like that at all. We go in, it was during COVID, so it was like at the tail end of COVID, but we go in, my wife stays out in the car with my two buddies, because we thought that we needed a witness, we needed witnesses. Thankfully, we did end up needing them. But I go in there, talk to the lady at the courthouse, doesn't speak a lick of English whatsoever, like very broken, has to get somebody to come translate for me. She gives me this paperwork, and then just bows at me. She's like, arigato, you sign here, she sign here. So I was like, okay. So I go out to the car, back into the parking garage, and it's like, all right, babe, like, I'm going to sign here, you sign here. And she's like, okay. So we signed it, and then I go back into the courthouse, and she looks at me, and she says, okay, bows at me again, says, arigato gozaimasu, which is like, thank you very much, and then gives me the paper, and then bows at me, and I kind of stand there for a second. I'm like, so as I'm walking back to the car, I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like, what's going on? So then I go sit in the car, and I sit in the driver's seat, and I take a deep breath, and Elizabeth looks at me, and she's like, what? And I'm like, I think we're married now. And she was like, wait, what? And then she's still, to this day, she'll tell you, if you ever talk to her about it, if it ever comes up in conversation, she's like, you tricked me into marrying you. She's like, I wasn't even able to be there, but I ended up getting married. And then that same little workup period, we call it SRA, when we're not on deployment, we're doing workups, getting everything situated. We end up getting pregnant again, accidentally.
Now let's make this clear too. She's in the military as well.
Yes. So at the time that I met her, when I met her on base, she was active duty. We actually have the same job, which was fun because, and I'm going to say this very frankly, because I know that she will not let me live it down if I don't. So we're ABHs, aviation bosun mate handlers. Okay. So if you've ever seen like Top Gun or anything, the yellow shirts that are like directing, we're called directors. It's like a position, but the ones on the flight deck, that's what we do.
So the big aircraft carriers.
Yeah, we're on a carrier. We're on the USS Ronald Reagan, and I wasn't the cool one up on the flight deck, actually, where the aircrafts are launching off the catapults and stuff. I was down in the hangar bay, in the garage. We call the top roof rats, and then the downstairs were just the parking attendants. So
she basically was better than you.
Oh, 100%. Let's get that completely clear. She is
She had the fun job.
way out of my league in life in general. She's absolutely stunning. And
you have a beautiful family.
thank you so much. She's incredible. She's been my rock, my foundation. But yeah, she was up on the roof though. She was the cool one. I ended up when she ended up getting pregnant, she obviously can't be on the boat anymore. So she went to the shore duty side of things,
Right.
but she stayed in Yokosuka on base. So at this time, yes, she's still active duty. She eventually got out after my son was born, but yes, she's active duty. We were both on the carrier. That's how we met. So we ended up getting pregnant with our son now, Alakai. It was our fleshly accident, but of course it was in God's plan, and we know that now because they're just, both of our kids are just literally God sent. Like
Right.
they're just amazing kids. My son's a little bit more rambunctious and a little bit more outspoken because my daughter, with her being on the spectrum, she kind of has speech developmental issues, but Alakai will talk your head off and say some things that you're like, wait, what did you just say?
Yeah.
So he's really in a stage now where he's figuring out his emotions. So he's just really happy, but if he's not, you will definitely know. So we ended up getting pregnant with him, and that was a lot as well because we're like, our daughter's 11 months, now we're pregnant again. It happened in like the first 2 weeks that I was home from deployment that we ended up getting pregnant again. So we were like, we're about to have 2 kids, 2 under 2, in Japan by ourselves, no support system, nobody there that family-wise that can like, hey, we got to go do this. Can we drop the kids off?
Right.
Like, it was a lot. And so she's pregnant, and I am leaving for deployment. And by the time I left, she was about, she was just getting pregnant and stuff like that. So when I got it back, she was able to still showing and stuff like that. But that deployment was very difficult because that's when we first started seeing Arabella's digression. So she was talking and stuff like that, but then she ended up kind of going mute and not saying words. So that's when I'm getting these emails about it. So we are concerned about that. We get back from this next deployment, and we get her looked at and go to a specialist, and she gets diagnosed with that. So we were kind of navigating that as parents. It's just hard to hear that your kid is diagnosed with autism. And then, of course, mom starts spiraling. She's like, did I do something that caused it? So it was a rough time. And then I go on deployment, that whole SRA period where when she get the diagnosis, we're still having fun partying. When we had kids, we ended up leaving the barracks, the dorms, and we actually got our own house. So we were the party house because none of our friends had houses.
Right.
They were still living in the barracks, so everybody would come over to our house. So Alakai's, we're playing music and having parties and stuff like that, and we got our kids and they're running around, and it was awesome, and we loved it, and it was a cool experience that we will forever remember. But that following deployment, it got really, really, really rough and dark when it came to Arabella and her diagnosis, because she then started to have self-inflicting like behavior. Well, she was self-harming. So she was banging her, like we had the walls, and then the flooring was like kind of like a concrete, but it had those tiled carpet pieces, but they're really, really thin. She was banging her head on it and stuff like that because she'd get overstimulated and not understand why she's feeling this way and stuff like that because she can't express herself.
And I imagine as parents too, it's very frustrating too because, you're still young.
Yeah.
And never been equipped
for
that, right?
Yeah.
So as parents, and I imagine your wife, just the overwhelming feelings those have to be to navigate.
Oh, yeah, because, she was by herself. So that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, and me and you've spoke about it before, military dependents, like the wives and spouses of military members that go on deployments and stuff like that, do not get the recognition that they deserve.
They don't.
My wife is an absolute superhero. She is just an absolute beast when it comes to being a parent. And could I have done it? Absolutely, I could have done what she did. Would I necessarily want to put anybody in that situation or put myself in that situation? No. That's so difficult, and I can't even imagine and fathom being in her shoes and doing that. I got to witness it from an outside perspective, but I couldn't imagine being there and having to go through. And Arabella started doing her self-harm behavior and stuff like that, because I'm getting emails. I'm in the middle of the ocean, and I'm getting emails like saying, hey, this is what's happening with Arabella. So as a husband and a father, I'm not I'm freaking out too. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get
in a situation where you can't do anything
I can't,
but read an email.
Yeah, and then email back, and then hopefully my emotions reflect through an email. We know how texting is. Like,
oh yeah,
even with her being home,
it
like
doesn't
right now,
reflect. Words do not reflect. Written words do not reflect our emotions. So the person who's reading it, you never know how they're going to receive it, what emotion they're going to tie with it.
Yeah, and then you get a text back sometimes, and they're like going off the rails on some part. You're like, that's not what I meant. So it's like, It was very tricky. So I'm trying everything in my power to, like, I'm showing these emails to my chain of command, and trying to get back home to her to support her, because I'm like, I understand that I have this responsibility, but like my family, I don't care what it is. My family
comes first.
100%. It's God and then my family, and
that's hard in the military too, because in the military, I get it. I get it, because you're enlisted in the military. There's a priority there as far as military sees, and then but also it doesn't take away that our soldiers are also human, and they got their family. And even though you're representing our country, which, by the way, thank you for your service.
My pleasure. My honor.
Man, it's just because there's a lot of things out of your control.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, life happens no matter. It's not going to stop because I'm on deployment. So there was people, of course, on the boat that were, you're a sailor, you signed up for this, you know your obligations. But then there was a few handful that I really cherish that understand that I can't be at my full capability when I'm stressing about, like, I'm not focused on what I'm doing right now whatsoever. I'm focused on outside.
And how could you?
Exactly. And so I'm trying to get myself back home, and then a situation happened where we're doing trying to get an early return to the States, and it was the paperwork got messed up, but we call them the khakis. When you get to an E7 and above, you become a khaki, and they were trying to help khakis. They call it the goat locker, but goats, like, the goat locker takes care of the goat locker. Right. So like they're trying to help other people out, because the person who messed up my stuff was an E7. So I have E9s trying to look out for the E7s. So it was just a lot, and I ended up contacting my congressman, and Elizabeth ended up contacting Navy Times, which is like the Navy news article that goes, like, everything big is on there. And they both contacted our ship, my ship, and I ended up having a meeting with my executive officer, which is the second in charge. He's a 06. He's a captain. And that was a hit or miss moment. If having a meeting with him, it's either going to go really good or it's going to go really bad, and the rest of my time there is going to be tragic, because my chain of command is not happy that I'm going above them to the second in charge of the entire carrier, which is a city on water. It's 3,000 people on it. So I ended up going there and having a meeting with him, and he apologized on behalf of the ship for how my family was treated. It was a kind of a cover-up thing, and he knew that. And so the next day I flew off the boat. 11 days later, I'm landed in Florida.
Awesome.
And when we landed in Florida, it was a very rough transition. We're living in hotels for 2 weeks, 3 weeks almost, in Japan, because we had to do a pack out. Then all of our stuff has to go from Japan to the States, but it's coming on a cargo ship. So when we moved to Florida, I hadn't seen our house. We already purchased our home, but I hadn't seen it yet because I had to have a place for my family to live. And then we have no furniture. It took like three months for our furniture in all of our house, like our pans, everything that we had was coming in a shipping container. So that was a rough transition. All four of us sleeping in one king size bed. Thankfully, first thing we did was bought a king size mattress and put it on had no bed springs, no bed frame. We just had it on the ground in our room. All
Okay.
four of us slept in there. We made it do, but it was a lot. And on top of that, while I was over there, I had in Japan before all that. My best friend Jason passed away. He's 23. He was my like more than a friend. He was my brother. He was supposed to be my best man. I actually have his eye and his birthday tattooed on my leg, but that was another reason I just started drinking more. And it like all this that I just explained. On top of that, I'm drinking the whole time because I'm stressed and I'm thinking that drinking is fixing it, but really it's just numbing and suppressing it and just shoving it down and down and down. And I eventually find out that when you keep shoving stuff down and suppressing it, it comes out tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
It's not when you lock things, try to push things away and try to close that door and shackle that door. When it's opened, it's...
Yep. And the enemy's going to throw salt on that wound.
Oh,
and
100%.
He's going to, alcohol.
Come to me.
Yeah, and alcohol too. I think that's a harder, almost than drugs, because it's legal.
Yeah.
Right. And it's easy to obtain. And
I mean, there's like 4 liquor stores in a 10-minute vicinity from my house.
And it can help you drown out what you don't want to deal with.
Yep. And that just continues to happen. When we get into Florida, I'm here for about 2 months because we had an early return, and then I had to go with me having orders here to Florida. I'm stationed over at Whiting Field. I have to go to a firefighting academy, so that's in Texas, in San Angelo, Texas. And so we left the ship so I didn't have to leave my wife. And we're like, all right, cool, we're going to shore duty. And then I get here, I'm here for 2 months, and then I have to leave for 4 months to go to my firefighting academy. Because if I don't do that academy, I can't fulfill my bill here, my obligations. So end up going there. It's a very prestigious firefighting academy. Like, there's people there from New Zealand, Scotland, and it's a military installation. It's an Air Force base, but it's very prestigious. And I was having a really difficult time there with my marriage because we were still really having problems at the time with just not knowing each other.
Right.
Me drinking and blaming everything on my wife and acting like I'm perfect and I'm the one fine and dandy and she's the one who has the problem. And so it was just our marriage. It was up and down a lot, and we've had times where we were really close to talking about the D word, which we don't like to bring up ever. We have a rule. We don't bring that up at all, but it was a lot, man. It was just really, really a lot.
Well, most people going through what you guys went through, let's just be honest, wouldn't make it, right? And in this, hindsight's 20/20, and as we get into your story, the enemy, he knows, man, if I can destroy Dylan and his wife right now, if I can destroy this family,
well, at the time when all that was happening, he was doing it and getting it through me. Now he knows he can't get it through me. He has to go through other people to get to me, because I'm able now to understand that he's there and he is tempting, but I can shut that out and know, like, no, that's not.
And that's what I loved about the rest of your story here is seeing what God.
Oh yeah.
How God just moved.
Oh, just all glory to him. It's crazy. And this is actually the part of the story where things start taking a drastic turn. I'm in San Angelo at this academy. I'm doing these tests. There's so many tests and obligations, and if I fail these objectives twice, they kick me out, and then I lose my orders, and my family there's a possibility my family stays in Florida because we just bought a home. We didn't rent, we bought.
Right.
And I could get stationed somewhere else if I fail this. So I was just stressing so bad.
Imagine.
Then that just makes me drink more. I don't have my wife there. Me and my wife are really, at this point, we're not doing so great, and we're not communicating as much. I mean, we're communicating every day, of course, but we weren't being husband and wife like we are now. And I'm just stressing out, and I get done with the school, and it was very strenuous. And there was one time where I was on my last chance. It was a test for the National Registry for my EMR for my medical stuff, because we're first responders. Because
Right.
with me coming to shore duty, I was the director guy down in the hangar bay, of course. But now here, our main job is aviation firefighter. So I'm a firefighter and first responder for the student pilots and stuff like that. So I was stressing out, just drinking. I'm sitting in my hotel room, because they put me in a hotel because I'm a Navy and it's an Air Force
Right.
base, so I couldn't live in the dorms. So I'm just drinking, and I finished my third test, and me and my boys, when we passed the test in my class, we'd go out downtown San Angelo and we'd go get some drinks. And we had a favorite brewery that we'd like to go to, local brews like IPAs and stuff like that. And it was all local, so we loved going there. Well, we went down there, and this is where the magic happened. And we're down there, and we get done having a few beers. We're feeling good. We're feeling loose. And we walk out, and it's right on there's like a little, I guess, river. It looked like a creek to me, but it was connected to the river in the middle of downtown. And we hear music. So we're like, man, let's go listen to some music. And we go down there, and as we're going up, we realize it's church. At the time, I didn't know what worship music was, what
Right.
worshiping God was. And I think I just was like, oh, it's a church that's playing Christian music on stage or something like that. We were like, man, let's just go. So we walk up, and when you walk up, it's kind of like an amphitheater setting. There's a stage down at the bottom, and there's like big slats of like concrete and grass where it like kind of has stairs going up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of gated off where the amphitheater starts and where the stage is, and you have to go through a gate. And there's two entrances. And the two entrances, there's a male on one side and then a female on one side, and all my buddies go to the right-hand side. And I'm like, why are they all going to the right-hand side? So I was like, I'll just go to the left. There's nobody waiting in line. Well, when I walk up to this gate, the lady at the time, she was a kind of a heavier set, probably about 5'7", Hispanic woman, green eyes, very bright green eyes with brown hair that probably went past her shoulders. And she like was to the side, and then when I walked up, she turned to me. And when she turned to me, it was like the sun was like perfectly behind her head, where it was kind of like it looked like she had an aura around her. And where I could still see her face, but it was like shadowed. So it was like very mysterious. And she looked at me. The only words this lady said out of her mouth was, I know you haven't accepted it yet, but he's waiting for you.
Mm.
And I kind of just look at her. I'm like, excuse me? But then she like just looked at me, and she when she said it, she had both my shoulders, and she looked at me and then said that, and I got a wristband, and she gave me a penny that had a cross punched out in it, and she gave me a hug. And when she gave me a hug, it was the just warmest, most just comfortable hug.
Mm.
And when she hugged me, I kind of like felt very uplifted. Not like I was floating or anything, but like very just like a weight was just like, oh, like I could, like literally that's crazy when I do that about Yahweh, but that's a whole different story. But just felt a breath, and I'm still kind of like shaken up and kind of like, why did she say that to me? Like, I don't know this lady. And this time I like, that's just weird to me at this time. Like now that would be normal, kind of. But I was just like, man, that's so weird. Why would she say that? There was nothing else she said. And hey, welcome. Love. No, like that's all she said.
What does that mean?
And I'm like, still like the whole time we're kind of like just, me and my boys are just kicking back and we're listening to it. But I'm like in my head the whole time, I'm just like, what just happened? Like that was so weird. So I kind of start getting really anxious. I already have really bad anxiety, and I started getting really anxious, and I was like, hey guys, let's we were probably there for like 10, 15 minutes, and we were like, hey man, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go back to the base. So we ended up driving back, and I'm driving back, And the whole time I'm just feeling, I didn't listen to music on the way home, and I kind of just had the windows down. It was in kind of the spring, summertime, so it was hot in Texas. And I'm just driving home and back to the base, and I'm sitting there, and it's kind of right before sunset. Get back onto base and go back to my hotel room, and I'm sitting there, and I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of got on my phone, started watching some Netflix or something like that, and I'm having a few more drinks, but something in me is just like
Right.
kind of thinking. So I'm not drinking as much as what I per se probably would have been. I'm just kind of really pondering on what just like why I'm feeling this really overwhelming, but like uncomfortable because of my thoughts, but so comfortable because of what happened. It was a very weird, overwhelming feeling that I had, and I just hear a voice in my head that says, I'm waiting again. And I'm just like, at this point, I just think that maybe I had a little bit too much drink or like I'm tripping.
Right.
But then when that happened, I sobered up really, like I started like, because I wasn't like gone or anything, like I wasn't like super, super intoxicated, but like I was feeling good, but I just started getting really clear minded and was like, what is happening? And then that lady's voice popped in my head again. And then I'm like, he's waiting, like what's happening? So I just keep thinking about it, and I start out of nowhere just bawling my eyes out, hysterically crying, and to the point where I'm like like I was bad, like crying bad, and started getting like the cold sweats where I'm like sweating, but I'm freezing, and I was just like very overwhelmed. I put a sweatshirt on, but then I'm taking it off because I'm so hot and I'm sweating. I don't know what's happening. And then just out of nowhere in my head, it's just like, that was God. Like this is your time. Like you cannot, don't. And
it's that first moment when God touched you.
Yes. And it was weird because like I didn't know God my whole life. Like my whole family was never religious. The only time I ever went to church was like in the summertime at Vacation Bible School because it was a free daycare. So my mom was a single mother at the time, so she would drop me off there so she could go to work. And I loved Vacation Bible School, but I didn't know anything that was going on. So it freaked me out even more because I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And something in me is saying like, don't ignore this. But I don't know what it is. Like it was just very, very overwhelming. So I called my sister. And the reason I called my sister was because they were in their faith walk. And they were in the church and all this stuff. And my brother-in-law, he would, every time he came down to Florida, he would kind of evangelize. But at the time when I didn't really know God, I was just like, man, he's like pushing his agenda on me. Like it was borderline like shoving it down my throat.
You didn't want to really.
Yeah, that time I was like, man, it's, everything he says is just ties into God, and that wasn't me at the time. And I called them, and every time he would talk about it, I would always say like, oh man, it's not that I don't believe, I want to sign. Like that's majority of the time people aren't believers because they want to sign, they want to hear God, they want to see Jesus Christ. You know what I mean?
They want
like
an angel to appear and
they want something.
Say,
yes,
and
don't get me wrong, that has happened for people, but everybody's testimony is completely different.
Correct.
Nobody's is the same, and if you try to justify it or compare it, you're missing the point.
Right.
And when I talked to him about this, this is late at night at this time, it's probably 9:30 or so, and I'm in Texas, so it's like 2 hours, 3 hours difference. So they're like laying. Yeah, when I called them, I could tell they were in bed. And when I told my sister what happened, they instantly sat up in their bed and they said, we're going to pray for you. And then as they're praying for me through the phone, I didn't know what was happening, but now I do. The Holy Spirit just came through my entire body. And went from an 8 on crying to a 10. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And thank you. Like, just so grateful, but overwhelmed. Borderline, I guess I hate saying it like that, but like at the time it was scary. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was having an anxiety attack or something, and they prayed for me. And then Charlie, which is my brother-in-law, he said, remember how we talked about that sign? He's like, this is your sign. And he said, as we were praying, God told me that your gift is to evangelize and spread the word of God through your music. And I've always played music. I've been playing guitar and singing since I was 10 years old. And so I was like, wow, like this is so powerful, such a powerful moment. And then my sister starts, after Charlie talked to me, my sister was like, I'm going to find a church in San Angelo that would fit you. She didn't want me going to like a Baptist church or like a Catholic church that was like not something for me. Like she knew where I was at and how I was speaking to her, and she knew exactly where to kind of point me. And she was probably looking for like 10 seconds. She's like, I found one. I'm going to take a screenshot, send it over to you. So I'm like, okay, I love you guys so much. I got to get off here. I got to call my wife. And remember at the time, me and her weren't that great. We were restoring it at this time, but we still weren't talking like we should have been or anything like that. We were still very weird in our situation. But I called her because my wife grew up Catholic, and actually recently I talked to her about it. She knew God, but did not have a relationship with God.
Right.
It was that religion versus Christian aspect of things, where it's not a religion where you need to do this, or don't do this, don't do this. Now she has a full relationship, but she knew God. And the first things when I told her, she kind of started tearing up and said, okay, when you get home, we'll find a church and we'll go. And it wasn't a question of like a Catholic church, because that's how she grew up. She said, we'll find a church that you want us to go to, and you want our family to be a part of. And that was just an incredible moment.
Let me just say, what a great wife you have.
Oh, she's...
to support you the way that she supports you. And those watching, people at church that go to church with us know, but I sit back, watch your wife. I do. Because I see how she loves you. Yeah. And how she you can tell by how she looks at you. But that support, that's, not every man has that.
Yeah, 100%.
You're blessed.
Oh.
So shout out to your wife.
Shout out, Elizabeth Arms. You are God sent. And she truly is my rock. She truly is.
At church, everyone sees you because you're on stage singing. And I as I'm sitting here thinking about your wife, just your backstory, hearing about your kids, hearing about the other things, God blessed you with a strong woman who loves you and supports you.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need the credit. She doesn't look for the,
I was about to say, she doesn't
the acclimates.
Yeah.
She's a warrior.
Oh, yeah. And she's actually found that out recently with the warrior aspect. She truly is just put in my life.
And I'm glad that you acknowledge that, because a lot of men don't.
And I'm so grateful at the point that me and my wife are at now, where I'm able to, because even though where we're at in the story, it's she's so supportive, and it was always there. I still took it for granted.
Oh yeah.
So after we get done with that phone call, I'm still got a few weeks, I think maybe a month left of schooling. That next morning, it was a Saturday that this all happened, and that next morning I was like, all right, cool. My sister sent me that church. I'm gonna go to it. I need a Bible. I was like, I have to go. Right. At the time, I didn't know about YouVersion or nothing like that, so I was like, I have to get a Bible. So I was like, man, where can I get a Bible? Looked up online, where can I get a Bible? I'm going to Walmart. So I woke up early in the morning, went to Walmart, got an NLT version of the Bible. It was a men's Bible, and went to the church. Pulled up to the church, and still was so nervous and anxious to walk in. So I sat in the parking lot I got there early. I made sure to get there early because I was so excited. So I was just like way ahead of schedule. I've always been ahead of schedule because the military does that. They tell me that all the time in church. Like, if they say be there at 6:30 in the morning, I'm there at 6, and I'm there 30 minutes early. That's just, if you're on time, you're late. That's just how the military, it was a big instill. But I sat in the parking lot, and then I'm like, I can't go in. They're gonna sit there, and I'm tatted up. My whole body's covered in tattoos. They're gonna know I don't belong. They're gonna look at me and judge me and shame me, and they don't know what I've done. Like they're gonna know that I'm not a good person. And so I'm sitting there, and I end up calling my grandmother, because my grandmother and my great grandmother are the only ones in my family that I know of that go to church. My great grandmother's been going to the same church for 52 years. So I called my grandmother, and she just said, like, they're not going to judge you. Just go in. If you feel some type of way and you feel like people are looking at you and stuff like that, maybe that's not the church for you. But don't give up on this nudge that you're getting. So I was like, okay, get up, get out, go up to the doors. As soon as I get to the door, there's a gentleman there. They opened the door for me and gave me a big hug and said, I'm so happy that you're here today. And I'm like, I don't know you, dude. Like, what do you mean you're happy? What do you mean you're happy that I'm here? And now I understand exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
Like, anytime somebody comes to church, I'm like, I'm so happy that you're here today, even if I don't know who you are. And that's what the church is about. And so I go in there, and I'm sitting there, and I sit in the very, very back, literally like in the middle. I wanted to sit in the middle, so I was like, all right, I'll at least sit in the middle, but I sat in the very back row. And worship starts, so I stand up, and there's the second song that they played was Gratitude by Brandon Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play that here in a little bit of it. But that song, my brother-in-law had showed me before, and it was kind of like my introduction to worship music, because I thought that worship music was like old school hymns and like stuff like that. So I didn't know. Like, that's why I said when we went to downtown, I was like, I didn't know what worship was. They played that, and I'm not to the point where I'm at now, where if you see me in church, front row, I'm singing my tail off, and I've got both my hands just praising the Lord. I was so nervous even to be there, and still felt very weird about it. So I'm just sitting there. I'm pretty sure my hands were like crossed like this in my hand, and I'm just holding them together, but I'm just profusely crying, like just bawling my eyes out, just allowing, involuntarily, I guess, allowing the Holy Spirit to move me. I didn't know what that Holy Spirit was at the time. But sitting there, they do the service. It was incredible. I really liked it. And at the end of the service, they had an altar call where the prayer team came up of this church in San Angelo. Prayer team came up, and I'm sitting there, and there was like a feeling. It was like, Dylan, go up there and let them pray over you. But I was like, then everybody's going to be looking at me. I'm already nervous. Well, it was really weird. I remember I said I'm sitting in the very, very back. I felt a nudge on my shoulder, like where my body physically went like this. And I'm like, looked back, nobody's there. So I was like borderline freaking out, but was like, okay, just go. Like, it wasn't even like I was like weirded out that nobody was behind me, but there was a part in me that was just like, go. And so I went up there, and the prayer, I kind of explained to the prayer team, was just like, this is my first time coming to church. I had a really, really huge testimony yesterday, an epiphany that God spoke to me in a crazy way, and they just started praying over me. As they're praying over me, the Holy Spirit is just moving through my entire body, where they have their arms around me, but I'm like convulsing, like I'm shaking, like my whole body is like, and I'm like tearing, but it's not because I'm crying. Like, you know how when you're crying and you're like, your body, like, no, I was like cold sweats, my whole body was jittering, so I didn't know what was happening. And they prayed over me, and I just gave them a huge hug and said, thank you so much. The service got over, and I walked up to them, and I explained the situation that happened the day before down on the riverfront, and kind of talked to them about it and asked them questions. I was like, excuse me, there was a lady yesterday that was down on the riverfront when you guys were performing. I think I said performing, but when you guys were down there performing, and she was kind of a heavier set Hispanic woman, sharp, piercing green eyes with like some brown hair that goes down there. And the gentleman looked at me, and he said, yesterday we were there. There was a an older white gentleman, and then there was a blonde lady that was there. I said, no, this was a Hispanic woman with brown hair. And he said, we were there all day, and it wasn't that long, and there was only a blonde lady at the gate. So I'm like, let me go ask somebody else. So I go up to somebody else in the church, because I wanted to ask somebody at the church who was a part of the church, because I didn't want to just ask a random person, because I was like, they would know if this lady's at the gate for their church, she has to be a part of this church. So I asked again, and they were like, said the same thing. Now there was a white male and a white blonde lady. So I'm like, man, third time's the charm. Let me go talk to one more person. And I asked them, and they said the same thing. And I stand there, and I'm like, okay. Well, then I walk out of the church, and as I'm walking, I go out the front door of the church, and I'm walking to my car, and I'm like, there's no way. So I sit in my car, and I'm like, I got there early, so I'm right up in the front, and I'm just like, okay, let me sit here for a minute and see if she maybe walks out, and I see her, because I'll recognize this. It is vividly.
She's very distinguished.
Very vividly stuck in my head. This image is, like, this woman's face is, like, right there on my frontal, and didn't see anything come out. So then I'm coming out. I pull out. Probably sat there for 15 minutes. I pull out of the parking lot, and the only thing that came into my mind whatsoever is that God sent an angel to me, and that was the day that I found God in my life. And
isn't that amazing to know that the God of this universe cared enough, whether she was an angel, because I do believe, the scripture's clear that we entertain angels unaware, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have no doubt that could have been that. But let's say maybe for argument's sake that wasn't. God still picked an individual. He picked someone.
Even if it wasn't an angel,
to
quote
come
unquote. Yes.
To you to show him to you. And through that person's actions, how God and the Holy Spirit started speaking through those simple words she said to you.
It was like, what, 6 words? Like,
yeah.
And that changed my life.
And you look at that in hindsight to where her obedience to do that was the pivotal moment of making you the man you are today.
Yep. Yeah. And from that day, every week, the rest of that month that I was there, I went to that church every single Sunday. And I'm still not, I know God, but I don't have a relationship with him. I'm still drinking. I don't know anything about all of the stuff that comes with it. I just know that I was blessed enough to like, he's always there, but people have to allow him, because he's knocking at that door. And when you open that door, he's always there, but you have to embrace him as well. So I was super blessed that I was doing that, but I'm still in my sin. I'm still doing stupid things, still drinking, still not treating my wife the what she deserves.
Right.
And I get back home to Florida, drive back from Texas. It's a 13-hour drive. I didn't stop. I drove all night, left at like 1 o'clock there, got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Made sure I wanted to get home to my wife and my kids, and get there. The first day that we get there, I think it was like a Thursday or something, so we had some time to kind of look over. Well, we looked at some churches, and we went to a different church, and when we went to that church, it was amazing. Like, we loved it. It just wasn't a fit for our family. We went there for a few months. I kind of started doing worship on it, I got with the worship pastor and started doing it. Never did a Sunday service or anything like that. We were probably going there for about 6 months or 7 months or so. And in that 6-7 months, every time we went to church, it's in Pensacola. We live in Milton, so it was like a 35-minute drive. And every single Sunday that we went, we would get through worship, and then it would pop up our kid's number, because when you check in your kids, they get a sticker. It'd pop up the kid's number. And that was happening every week for like a month. So we eventually just were like, okay, well, when we leave to go get our kids to go, like, if they're putting our numbers up, we're going to go check on them. When we get there, they're fine. But now they see us.
And now they're not fine.
And if they see us, they're happy. But if we walk away, you
yeah.
think that they were having a tantrum now, like wait till their mom and dad, they see them, they think they're with them.
Correct.
And then, so it just wasn't a fit for our family. And so we were just watching it on online. Well, in this time that we're watching online, a lot's going on through life. I'm not losing my faith. I'm still believing in God, but I'm not in the Word. I'm not constantly
really practicing it.
No, well, not at all. Like really, we weren't like praying over our food, like our table and our home, and we weren't doing that on a regular basis. But we were still going to church. It was kind of like that. We're Christians Sunday check. I was in that phase.
Well, and if you look at it too, the enemy, he didn't want you to grow.
Yeah. And at this time, the enemy was still strongly picking and prodding all the time.
Yeah.
And I was, at this point, still allowing that to happen because I didn't know what any of this was still.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm good, but I wasn't. I knew God, but I wasn't saved.
Right.
And throughout this time, we have a problem with our car, so I ended up getting a little old beater. It was a beater. It's still a beater. My wife would say it's still a beater, but a little 1990 S10, and I get the engine. The engine blows up on it after I just bought it, which it was cheap, so I wasn't really doing nothing. And then I wanted to get a new motor in it, and I saw this guy in my neighborhood who had just a incredible C10 blue pickup truck. So I'm like, man, let me go talk to this guy. We'd met before, just walking around. He's asked me about my garage because I painted it, and he asked me what him and his wife Beth, which we're talking about Ebon here, and they walked by a few times, but I didn't remember his name, so I walked up to his house with a note because I forgot his name. And I was like, hey, my name's Dylan. I'm the one down the street with the S10. I forgot your name, but I just wanted to come talk to you about your truck and see if you had anybody who had a motor because mine blew up. Well, as soon as I'm walking up to his house, his garage door opens. He comes out. We kind of talk about it, and he tells me about this guy. Well, I get connected to this guy, and we end up going over there, and he builds me a motor, and me and Ebon start kicking it off. And for me, it was just like he was an older cat. I like talking to him. I told you I already have an old soul, so like I just got along with older people. And we ended up kicking it off. Well, from this point, we're talking a lot more. We got each other's numbers now, so we're frequently seeing each other in the neighborhood. He stops by, I stop by if we see each other in the garage. And I fixed this little dirt bike, and at this point, I fixed this little dirt bike for my neighbor across the street, and I'm driving it around the neighborhood to make sure that it's good because I fixed it. It was like the brakes, so I didn't want to give it back to this kid. Well, I get into an accident and get pretty banged up. Where I had facial reconstructive surgery. I'm actually about to have another surgery on my shoulder. After my facial reconstructive surgery, I had to have a nose surgery because it pushed my nose septum in, so I couldn't breathe. So it was a lot. And in this time, it was like same week that the accident happened, I have a golf ball in my face. Like it's just my face is so swollen because I broke this arch right here that connects to your cheekbone. And like 3 weeks prior to that, like I kind of talked to him about my church that I was going to at the time and just telling him it wasn't a fit for my family. And he kept saying like, hey man, you should come try our church. It's Momentum Church, 3300 Summer Boulevard. And I was like, man, yeah, like that sounds good. Like maybe we'll try. The second week, hey man, you should really come. And if you know Ebon,
I love Ebon. Ebon is one of our. So Ebon's one. I talk on here about we should have. We're the sum of the 5 people we hang out with, right? And Ebon and you are in that 5 with
sure.
me, right? And Ebon's that type though. Ebon, me and Ebon are totally 2 different people. He's from California. I'm from Chicago. Yeah. I'm a goof. He's all this. Yeah. I'm the guy he stuck in high school would have stuck in a locker.
And he'll tell you the same thing.
And me and him will laugh because we're like, in any other universe, we should not be friends. Yeah. But Ebon, what I love about Ebon is he's got a tremendous story too.
Oh, his stories.
And you talk about someone that God has radically changed and done, and then look at him. He's not only affecting my life, but man, how instrumental he was here because he didn't give up.
Oh yeah, no, and that part's coming, but he is very persistent. And the thing is it's a gift from God because he knows when it's needed. Mm-hmm. Even though you don't have to say nothing or that much, he's got that discernment for sure where he knows. and he knows when he needs to push. Most people would look at it as being pushy, like, dude, leave me alone. But like, you need it. You need that. Like, but I ended up getting in that, and he just keeps hey man, why don't you come? Third week comes, does the same thing. It took him a month of constantly, and I'm so grateful and blessed that he continuously did it. And that's a message for anybody listening. Like, if you have that one person that you're kind of saying like, hey man, like, you need, like, why don't you try our church, or come, if you're looking for one, try this. And they're like, nah man, maybe another time. Keep going. Don't get discouraged, because up. Like, planting that seed, you don't know. And I'm like a huge example of just when you plant that seed, and just if you're consistent, because people are stubborn. It's just common nature. Like, we're stubborn people. When you put your flesh above it, it's, you just don't think about everything. But the fourth week, I'm like, hey man, he messages me. I'm like, dude, my face is all swollen. I'm about to have my surgery. This is Sunday. Or he messaged me on Saturday. I was like, asking me to come tomorrow, which was Sunday service. Like, dude, my surgery's on Tuesday. I'm just trying to kind of relax. I got into that accident. He's like, what a better time to come to church than now.
Go on.
And
can't argue with that, can you?
And we walk up. We go, and momentum was. We walk up, and he introduces us to, like, the people, because him and Beth been going to church for a little bit, and he introduced us to Brian and Ashley, and they give us, like, everybody's just giving hugs. And my wife's from California as well, just like Yvonne, and like, she's not a people person. She is now, which is crazy to see the day and night, but she was very she's still kind of very introverted. Like, she really kind of feels people out, and so it was like everybody was giving her hugs and stuff like that, and she's kind of like taken back. And me, I'm a very outgoing, like, personable guy, but I wasn't this day, because my face is all swollen and stuff. But everybody's doing it, and we loved the service, and we didn't get called for our kids. And I've been going to Momentum for a while now, coming up on a year, and I've never seen any number on the screen for a parent to come get their kid during the service ever. I don't even know. Ministry. Oh, they're incredible, and my kids love it. If we pull out of the neighborhood and we go out of a driveway and we go left, they know church, like, we're going to church. It's Tuesday, and they're like, church? And we're like, no, we're just going to run some errands. But they love it, and they love going to church, and that's an awesome thing as a parent. And so we're going, and then I end up having the surgery, and I didn't know it at the time, because I just had my surgery, and I'm all medicationed up and out of it, laying in bed. Well, we just went to Momentum on Sunday. 2 days later, on Tuesday, when I had my surgery, Ashley reached out to Brian. Messaged me, but I couldn't see my phone. I was out of it. So Ashley ended up messaging Elizabeth when I didn't reply, and they said, hey, we want to get you and your kids dinner, because we know right now is a difficult time with Dylan just having surgery. We don't want you to have to stress out about that. And that's where we were just like, what? Like, we've gone there one day. It was like, you can't even say a week. Like, we've gone there one day, and they're doing that. And it's not even the fact of, like, them giving us something or giving us pizza for my kids, and, like,
it's that simple hospitality.
It's just the simple fact that they care.
Yeah.
And that was even more shown the next week we went. We get there, and I mean, me and Elizabeth will tell you the same thing. I didn't remember anybody's names besides Ashley's, because I didn't remember Brian's name at the time. Like, I had to, like, think about it, because we were kind of, like, bombarded. Like, we were meeting everybody. As soon as we walk up, they're like, hey, Dylan, Elizabeth, how are you doing? How are your kids? Arabella and Alakai. I'm like, they truly, and then they just embrace you, and they're the first thing that they're doing is checking up on you.
Welcomed you. They saw you.
Yes, they saw us for us, even though we weren't. We thought that we were still kind of in that awkward phase where we're like,
and it's great to be seen, right?
Absolutely.
That goes a
Anybody
long
says they
way.
don't. When you are in those times where you don't feel like you're seen, and that happens, you don't take that for granted. And as we're kind of going into to Momentum, in that year prior to all this stuff with the accident and us going there, I'm gigging out in town. I finally got some gigs, and I'm making some money, and I'm making really, really good money playing guitar and music at these local bars. I'm drinking like crazy, especially playing gigging at bars. People are tipping me money, but they're also like putting shots on the stage, and I'm drinking with them, and they're buying me drinks. So like I'm just drinking a lot, and it's constantly like every week I'm having a gig. So like I'm drinking throughout the week, but like Saturdays I'm drinking, Fridays I'm drinking, and that's when the enemy was just really poking at me. And we've talked about my wife, like she's so supportive, and that never died. That never was like not there. I just felt alone and not wanted. It was like,
well, that's where the enemy wanted you.
And the enemy was just putting in my head all the time, like my wife was already giving me really 100%, but like the 80% that she's given me, I'm so tunnel vision focused on that 20% I'm not getting. So now I'm like thinking that I'm alone and I'm on an island and I'm not happy and all this stuff. So that leads into like an emotional affair, which I didn't know at the time what it was. Like that was a thing. I was like, when she like was so mad at me, I'm like, what do you mean? Because I'm drinking still. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not. I didn't cheat on you. I didn't do anything with her. But that emotional affair and allowing her to enter my life and entertaining that was cheating. And that took me until I got sober to realize. And that happened prior to us getting to Momentum. That was in like that time where we were just watching it and stuff like that. And
it was just another snare the enemy wanted to
and
throw
I spoke to Ebon about that. I feel like that was also a little bit more because he knew how much I was drinking, because I've kind of spoke to him about it. That's why he was really pushing and kind of like always, hey, man. Like wasn't pushing throughout the week. It was like once a week where he'd be like, hey, man, come to Momentum, blah, blah, blah. And so now we're going to Momentum, and we're going there constantly. And in that first week that we went, when we first met Brian and Ashley, I asked them about the worship team because I play music. They instantly got me in contact with the worship pastor. I got on really fast with the worship team, and I was so blessed because I was like at our old church. I was practicing and rehearsing, trying to get on stage, like to lead worship for 6 months. So I get up there on service the first week I was up there and loved it. And just at that time, I was treating it as a performance. It wasn't me worshiping and allowing the Holy Spirit to move through me and me being a vessel and a servant to God.
It was just you doing what you do.
It was me doing what I loved on a stage where people are enjoying me singing and playing. And
that's something you've enjoyed. You enjoyed
my whole life. Yeah. And it was to the point where I was doing that, but I was also gigging still. So after Sunday service, I would make sure that I stopped at the liquor store. Even after I'm on the altar and leading worship, like it just ingrained in my head, I made sure that I was able to stop at a liquor store. And at this time, I'm hiding drinking from my wife. I was drinking beers and stuff like that, little Michelob Ultras that are like very low percentage. She's telling her family how proud she is of me because I'm not drinking as much. So when they came in town, she's like, oh no, Dylan, like Dad, don't be pressing Dylan because he's not drinking as much. But really I'm buying the little shooters, a Fireball or something, and I'm putting it in my toolbox because I'm like, my wife's not going to go in my toolbox. And as I'm going out to the garage to get like a soda or something, I'm taking 2 shots and then going back inside and chasing it with a Sprite or a Coke so it doesn't smell in my breath. Like I thought that was smart. My wife. Men, listen to your wife. They know. They know if you're hiding something, that they're not dumb. And there's some instincts that they have. They're not dumb. But I'm doing that and thinking I'm hiding from it. And this is happening for a few months. And it all started with this gentleman that I met who worked at the liquor store. And we kind of kicked it off. I thought he was my friend. He was the devil in disguise. Truly the devil in disguise. Really started putting stuff in my head. He was there that night that I had that emotional affair where he was kind of
facilitating,
adding to the fire, like, man, you don't deserve this, blah, blah, blah. Like just being a not so good person. But I thought as a boy, like as a guy, I'm like, man, that's my boy. He's supporting me.
Being the friend you needed.
He was saying everything I didn't need to hear ever. Like nobody needs to hear. Just a very negative influence. And
totally different what you would have got from Ebon and me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Ebon would literally put hands on me in a holy way and be like, "What are you doing?" Like yoke you up. Yeah. So, but I'm just doing all this stuff, and one day I get to the point where I'm going somewhere and I stop at the liquor store and I take these drinks, and I would do it where I'd take like 2 drinks in the parking lot, and then I take those 2 shots, and then I have do them in the parking lot so I could throw them away, so I didn't have an open container in my car. But I'm driving and drinking and driving, like I'm like, and I'm pull out the parking lot like everything's fine and dandy, like normal, and I'm driving. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just what are you doing right now? What are you are risking everything. You're risking your family. You are risking your freedom. You are risking your career. And I called Ebon. I started bawling my eyes out, and I called Ebon. I was like, man, I need help. I cannot do this on my own. And he was right there. And he's like, when you get done running your errands, come see me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just like bawling my eyes out still, and I'm really not feeling too good, and I'm really just feeling like a piece of dirt, like just bad, man. I'm just like, what? You are just ruining. Because like in this moment, I'm thinking about how I'm treating my wife, how I think I'm present as a father, but I'm not. Right. I'm there. I'm sitting next to them, but I'm not present. I'm not with them, enjoying time with them, being intimate in a way as a dad should. And it's like, in those situations, I was just like, man. And then I leave, come home, I go in, and I was about to call Ebon, but I see my wife, and I just start bawling to her and just tell her, just spew everything just comes out. She looked at me and she said, I know. And I was like, what do you mean you knew? She's like, I knew that you were doing that. She's like, but I can't bring it up to you because anytime I say that you have a drinking problem or you're drinking too much, you get mad at me, throw it in my face, you start a fight, and then you try to turn it on me. And in that moment, I'm like, man, you're right. And I literally looked at her. I said, you're right. Yeah. You were always supporting me, and I was the one that's been just screwing the pooch. Like I'm the one who's been messing this up, putting our marriage in jeopardy, putting our lives in jeopardy, and everything that we have, and taking you for granted when you have been nothing but a blessing in my life. And I'd say all this.
The eyes are starting to open.
Oh, yeah. No, these chains are just starting to slowly, at this point, they're starting to slowly come off, and just chains are breaking. And Ebon messages me because it's been a little bit, and he knew I told him I was almost home. He messages me. He's like, hey man, what's up? And I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Elizabeth. Let's link up tomorrow. And all he says is, nah, that ain't happening. And I didn't reply. And then I hear a knock on my door.
I love it.
Because he lives right down the street from me.
And that's what I love about Ebon. Ebon, he's a friend.
Oh, he is.
And he knew that what was going on. The Holy Spirit was telling him, no, this can't wait tomorrow.
He's been there. And you already had him on, and he told a story. It's like, it's so incredible to talk to Ebon at the beginning, like still to this day, but like at the beginning when I was telling him everything that was going on, he's like, dude, I was there. Like everything you were doing, like I was doing it, but he was like, and he'll even say it, he's like, I was doing it more though, amplified from what you were doing. Right. So he's like, so I understand. And he's so he knocks on my door, he comes over, we're sitting in the back, I bring him through. Elizabeth ended up going to bed because this is like 9:30 at night, so she's going to bed because she's got school. And we sit on my back porch, and I'm crying, just telling him, like, man, I'm just kind of spewing and venting and telling him I can't do this on my own. I've tried managing it. Managing it just makes me stress out, and then I drink more. And he just let me talk. And, like, that was, like, the best part, because usually I'm the one, like, interrupting or something like that. But he just let me talk and just sat back. And then when I got done, he said, let me make a phone call real quick. I'm going to connect you to some people. And he called you. Yeah. I didn't know it at the time. Me and you hadn't met yet. But
it was late at night.
Yeah, it was like
I got a text message from him.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I was like, here's my phone ringing. And I knew if Ebon's message, I just sensed in his text, I knew the time of night it was. This was something
usually
important.
him and Beth are like laying down. Like, guaranteed Beth was sleeping. Like, that's usually... But he called you and then told me about the groups on Sunday or on Tuesdays. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm still now I'm nervous about the Tuesdays, but I'm like, okay. Like, I told him I needed help. He's given me the tools and pointing me in the right direction. Now it's time for me to do the legwork, because a lot of times, even though God's working in your life and showing you all of this stuff that was already in His plan, but to help you and bring you closer to Him.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of times people take that and they think that they're good, but like you have to do the legwork too. He's going to point you in the right direction. He's going to give you.
It's not just enough to want it. You got to put action to it.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. So we're sitting on my back porch for like an hour and a half, and the next thing you know, he's like, all right, cool, man. Let's go out to your garage real quick. I'm like, all right. So my garage is a man cave. I got a pool table, dart boards, big screen TV. So I'm like, all right, cool. We're maybe gonna go out there and play a game of pool, kind of decompress. And as soon as we walk in my garage, we walk through my back door, through my kitchen, go to my garage, and he goes straight to my fridge. And if you're ever at my house or know about my fridge in the garage, it's my beer fridge. That's where all the alcohol, all the liquor, all my beer, that's where that goes. And he opens it up, and we just had my son's 3rd birthday. So I had like 4 cases of beer. Buzz balls. We had liquor. We had all types of stuff. So he started grabbing stuff. And in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, we're pouring this out right now. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So now I'm like, I'm sobered. I'm like, this is really happening. He's really holding me accountable. And so we do that.
And what a friend. I love it because as we're talking, I'm showing the video. We got the video footage of you guys pouring
it out. Yeah, no.
I love it.
Yeah, and we literally walked down my driveway, and I looked over to the right. I was like, there's a storm drain there, and we're just cracking them and pouring them. And you'll see in the video, they're stacked up. We got boxes. Like, it was a lot. But that day happened, and since then, I have been completely sober. I just hit 152 days.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, and it's been such a pivotal role in my life with being sober. Like, I wish that I never even, like, now that I see how I am.
See how the clouds go.
Well, I haven't been, after I got sober, and I came to Tuesday, and I was really nervous with Tuesdays because I'm a worship leader.
What's everyone going to think?
Everybody's going to judge me. Like, not only am I just like part of the church and I'm coming here, what is everybody going to think? But like, everybody that's at that group,
disqualify you now?
Everybody that's in that group, in our group, like, sees me every Sunday leading worship. So I'm like, man, and I'm 27. So I'm like, why am I like, dude? Everybody parties in their 20s. That's like the saying, and like, you're having fun. I'm like, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. So I ended up going, and like, that was like, that group on Tuesdays is truly saved my life. And when I talked in there my first day, when we kind of were going over testimonies with me, you, Will, and stuff like that, and Steven, and I sat down and I really was like, I haven't been really sober since I was 13, 14 years old, because I was smoking marijuana at a young age because I got put on medication because I was misbehaving in school. So I got taken to a psychiatrist, and in one setting that's 30 minutes, I find out that they give me Zoloft and all these medications, and I just turned into a zombie. So I didn't like how it made me feel. So I found about marijuana, and it made me feel good, and I would still be calm and not so antsy.
And how old are you now?
27.
27. So, that's what, almost, that's
12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hadn't been sober. So like, now it's so awesome to even see like my wife, like, look at me, the way she looks at me now, and the way I interact with my kids, and the way they run to me, and you can see such a big pivot and change on my day-to-day life. Like, becoming sober was so hard at the beginning. It's still a win every single day. Like, every single day that I don't drink is a win.
Because the enemy wants to put it in front of you.
100%.
And there's going to be days that you're like, man, it's just out of nowhere. Man, a beer would be nice.
Beer sounds great. Like, and that happens quite frequently. But there's no point in my head right now, or any time since then, that's been like, yeah, but maybe just one. You'll be fine with one.
Well,
like,
the great thing is now you got resources.
Yep.
You know,
and
that thought comes there.
That's the biggest part.
I'm going to call one of these guys.
I'm going to call Mike. I'm going to call
Yvonne.
I'm going to call Will. I'm going to call Steven. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's been such a pivotal role.
And that's why those 5 men are so important in our lives.
For sure. And since then, since me becoming actually like truly sober, I've become truly saved. And when the first Tuesday we went, I kind of had my testimony. Well, that next day, that following day, I just had a really, really knot in my stomach. And I completely dropped my knees and surrendered my life to God, and told him, like, your will is my way, and I will be your servant. I will be your vessel. Whatever you need from me, I will do it. I will spread your name. I will in it, all your glory. And since that day, my life has completely changed, in every great way possible. Those negative situations that I would freak out over, I'm super positive about now, and understand that God's got my back. And since that day, we've had our first revival nights, and I was blessed enough to be a part of that. And me and my wife were still struggling before that. And on the third night of revival, my wife really looked at me, held me, and I'm crying, and she's crying, and she holds my shoulders and just says, I forgive you. And like, these chains are, at this point, like, they were gradually falling, but like now they're just flinging, like, you know, when a chain brought is like pling pling, but like they're just flying off, and those doors that were locked are opening, and me and my wife's relationship is just incredible. And those times that we would have a disagreement or an argument, like, I'm glad that we have those now. Like, and it's so weird to say that. Like, I'm glad if we have a disagreement, because the way that we resolve it now,
It's totally different.
100%. It would turn into, like, even if we get heated in a situation, one of us will say something, and my wife will, like, chuckle. And that used to drive me crazy, because I'm being serious and you're laughing. But now it's like I start laughing too, and then we sit down, we laugh, and then we're like, what were we just arguing about? Like, I love you. Like, what? It's not that big of a deal. We're good.
Isn't God good?
Oh, it's so good. So good. Beyond words. Like,
and, you know, I look at your story, Dylan. You know, half your life was spent intoxicated, you know, and God loved you. God had a plan for you back then. Sent a Hispanic woman with green eyes,
piercing green eyes,
to touch you with the Holy Spirit, to a church that got to plant seed in you, to Yvonne, who got to help plow that, cultivate that, to our church, reaping the blessings of what God's done, because you're changing lives. That broken boy that needed, you know, hallucinatives, needed alcohol to try and get by now, sober, living for God, and touching people in ways you don't even know, that one day when we get to heaven, you know, that woman, if she wasn't an angel, think about when she gets to heaven and sees that her little obedience to go up to you, where God was nudging her to go say those words to you, those 6 simple words, and how that she's reaping blessings for that, you know. And how powerful you are and strong you are today to come share your story with us, because people are listening to this, people that at church that know you, that have no clue, because they look and they see this person up there, and we automatically think this guy's been on fire for God his whole life, right? And everything. But the truth is, you never know what the person's story is next to you, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
And since you've been coming to our group on Freedom, you know, meeting the people in there and hearing their stories, but also then getting to be a bond to someone else.
Yeah, I've been actually blessed enough to, after all that, and my journey is like, I've been able to evangelize, and I've been able and blessed enough to see my friends and people that I invite to my house, and like that are family friends that come to Momentum every week. They can, and then they're coming to church, and they're getting closer with God, and the people that when I'm on stage leading worship at the altar, and knowing that I'm able to be a vessel and a servant to God, and let the Holy Spirit move through me to impact somebody else's life. And you don't see those a lot of the time.
When you've gone past even that comfort zone of helping Yvonne lead a group in Next.
Yep.
You know,
Next has been incredible.
Where you're influencing young people.
Young adults, 18 to 25-year-olds.
You know, where you're getting now to take all that garbage from your past, and you're getting to use it now It's say, hey, man, I've been there. I know where you're headed, and I know
Literally,
the destruction you're about to
Yeah.
go to. So look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And those are the things that a lot of people don't realize, and like how much and possibly many people look up to you. Even if like whoever's listening right now, like people are looking up to you no matter what. There's always somebody that's looking up to you and seeing how you move and how you are a servant and what you do, and they're looking at that and either wanting to be a part of that or wanting to be you and be following your shoes and footsteps. And
no matter where you're at, you know, the importance part of your story is you had a choice to either continue writing your story the way it was going, or to allow God to take your story and create something wonderful as what you just shared with us.
yeah, it's I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I didn't ignore that nudge. And
Well, I'm thankful to you for sharing that today with us, because iron sharpens iron.
for sure.
And I know that someone's listening today that because of your courage, God's going to probably encourage them to do what you did. And so I want to thank you for being here today.
Absolutely, my
and
pleasure.
adding that to us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on and allowing me to tell my story and hopefully resonate with somebody else who might be going through the same thing.
Awesome.
Thank you, buddy. All my words fall short. I've got nothing new. How can I express all my gratitude? I can sing these songs as I often do, but every song must end, and you never do. So I throw up my hands, praise you again and again. All that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I'm nothing else fit for my King, except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your soul. You've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your song. You've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your song. You got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Hey, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. For I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Intentional Guy Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show and got some real value out of it. Tell others what you learned and share the podcast if you think they would benefit from it too. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform, leave a review, and consider checking out our website, intentionalguy.org, to learn more about us and get in touch. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.